Hi everybody, welcome to my session today of Native American flute playing. Sorry for the delay, I was having some technical problems connecting to Facebook Live, but it seems that it's working now. If not, let me know, but I think the sound should be okay and the camera as well. Before I start playing flute, I want to tell you something about my path with Native American flute, and I want to tell you something about this beautiful instrument and how I use it for healing in my sessions and all the work I do with this instrument. Okay, so my name is Belen. I am from Spain and I have been living in the UK for about 8 years now. The first time I played Native American flute was 2008 when I attended a Native American flute workshop in my birthplace in Madrid. I always had a strong connection with the flute in general. Since I was a child, I always wanted to play flute, and I learned to play the recorder. Later, I learned to play the tin whistle. But when I listened to the Native American flute for the first time on the radio when I was a teenager, I felt something very deep inside my soul. I felt it was my instrument and one day I was going to play it. And I didn't know how because, well, I thought it's an instrument from Native Americans and maybe I have to go to North America to learn to play it, but we'll see. One day it will come to me. So then when I saw that workshop in Madrid years later, I thought that was a great opportunity for me to learn to play Native American flute. So after the workshop I got a flute, then I got two more later, and for a while I was playing on and off while I was traveling around the world because I have been very nomadic, living in many different places. And yes, I always had my flute with me, playing in nature, playing in different places where I was. And it was a hobby for me for many years. It was just a hobby. I was playing on my own. I didn't dare to play in front of people. I was very private with my flute. I didn't want other people to listen to me because I thought, no, I can't play very well. But I always found that every time I played, I felt very relaxed, very connected, very grounded, and it was always helping me in any moment of my life when there were difficult situations and emotions. I found the flute very useful for helping me to release the emotions, to connect to myself again. So it was about 3 years ago when things changed, and yes, I started to play maybe a bit before, maybe 5 years ago I started to play with people and in front of people, not much, but every now and then. But it was especially 3 years ago when I moved to Bristol, or 3 years and a half ago, when something happened. Like there were opportunities coming to me to play flute in yoga classes, in meditation sessions, in festivals, and then there were people asking me to give workshops, and I thought, well, I don't know if I can give a workshop, but I can try. I created a meetup group in Bristol, it's the Bristol Flute Circle, and then I started to give very basic workshops of just 1 hour to teach the basic things, so then people could learn and then get a flute, and then we can play together in the flute circle. And then what happened is that this I was feeling more and more that I have to work with sound healing. So then I did a sound therapy training in Spain. I did an intensive training, residential, for 2 weeks, and that was amazing for me. Is when I felt that was my path. So the Native American flute took me to my path of sound healing. In this training, I didn't learn anything about Native American flute. It was about the voice, tuning forks, and Tibetan bowls. But all the things I learned in that training, I applied for the Native American flute as well. Yeah, so then I created a website of Native American flute, another website of sound therapy, and I started to give like proper workshops, longer workshops of 4 hours for groups. I also started to do sound journeys with different people, musicians and sound therapists in Bristol, and I started to do one-to-one sound therapy sessions. So this was growing more and more, and yes, and I'm very happy that these days I'm following the path of my heart, mainly with Native American flutes, but also voice and other instruments. And another thing is very important in my path is nature connection. I studied environmental biology when I was younger, and also I also did a master of ecotourism because I really love traveling. So for me, nature is essential for healing, and I need nature. And also I feel that it's going to be more important in my life because I will move to the countryside soon, and I will live in a community. So I always encourage people to play flute outdoors because it's the best way. When you are in nature and you can connect with nature through the music, you can. I feel, when I play outdoors, that there is kind of communication with the animals that are there, like the birds sing louder. Some places like they want to sing with your flute. Also with the trees, I feel a strong connection. If you think about it, the Native American flute is a wooden instrument. It's made from the wood of a tree. So somehow the spirit of the tree is in the flute. And yes, it's another way of connecting with nature, through the trees. Using the Native American flute, to connect with the spirits of the trees, I'm going to take one of my flutes so that I can show you. Yes. So this is one of my first flutes. It's the second one I got. This is from Spain, from a flute maker in Spain made it. And it's in F. So, I want to tell you something about the Native American flute, so then you understand more about the instruments, because maybe some of the ones who are listening to me now don't know anything about Native American flute. And this is not a workshop, this is just a demonstration, and I will tell you some basic things. And if you are interested in learning more, you can connect with me, you can come to one of my workshops when I can give them again, or you can have a one-to-one session with me. So the Native American flute is an instrument from the Native American Indians. The ones we have these days are like the modern version of those ones. Of course, they are not exactly the same. It's a very ancestral instrument. The scale is pentatonic, so this is one of the reasons why it's so easy to play. Other instruments, for example, a recorder, they have a diatonic scale, so it's 7 notes, so it's more difficult to play, and you have to be careful with the combination of notes. If you don't play well, maybe it's not going to sound good. But the instruments that are pentatonic, they have 5 notes in the scale, are much easier to play. So sorry. So this means that most of the things you play with the Native American flute is going to sound nice as long as you follow the rule of the scale. But I can tell you later about this rule. So I'm going to get some water. Okay, so I have a picture here. I want to show you about the structure of the Native American flute, so then you can understand how it works. But what happens is that this is a flute made with 2 chambers. There are 2 chambers. The first chamber is the slow breath chamber, and the second chamber is the sound chamber. So what happens is that when you blow into the flute, and more than blowing into the flute, I prefer to say breathing into the flute, because you have to be very gentle with the flute. You don't have to blow too hard, otherwise you can make a sound that is not good. So when you breathe into the flute, you introduce the air, then the air is traveling from the first chamber to the second one, and in between there is a narrow channel, the name is flute, and the air is slowing down when it's passing through the flute. And then what happened here, there is a splitting edge, and the splitting of the air is happening there. So it's like an edge that is in the sound hole, and what happens is that some of the air is traveling down to the sound chamber, and some of the air is coming up, and then in that place where the air is splitting is where the sound is here. So then if you play in front of a microphone, you will have to put the microphone here in the sound hole, because the air is coming, the sound is coming from here. So then another thing is the totem that you can see in the picture, the totem of block, and is here in this flute. So the totem of block is very important. It has to be in the right position, so then you get a clear sound. So every time you start playing flute, you have to make sure that it's in the right position. You will have to move the totem up and down until you have the right sound. The sound is clear, no? For example, this flute, I'm going to play first without covering the holes. I only covered this hole because the Native American flute is pentatonic, so 5 holes, you only need 5 holes. Many flutes these days have 6 because the flute makers think I will make an extra hole, so when the person is more experienced, they can play other scales. So it's good to have one of 6 holes if you want to play other scales, but the basic scale is the pentatonic, and this is the one for beginners. So I always cover this hole when I play the pentatonic, so I can make the sound now and see if it's clear. If not, I will have to move the totem. If I go too much up, the sound is not good. If I go too much down, it's not good either. Then I have to go somewhere in between, like above the edge here of the sound hole, a little bit above. Now I cover the first 3 holes. I don't know if you can see it. And then I'll cover the other holes. It's very important when you cover the holes in the Native American flute that you use the pad, that is the flat part of the finger, because if you use the tip, maybe you leave some gap, and then the air is going to escape through this gap, and the sound is not good. So you always have to be careful with that. This is one of the problems that people who come to my workshops face when they are starting to play, that they forget about this, no? They put the tip of the finger, and then if you are not careful, then you are not covering the hole properly. So covering the hole properly is very important. Also the way you place the flute in your mouth is not very much inside, it's more like resting on the lower lip, and with the top lip you seal around, and always breathing very gentle into the flute. Breathing is essential in flute playing in general, in all the flute playing, but in Native American flute, because it's very simple instrument, with the breath you can make different effects and ornaments and techniques. Is through the breath. So it's very important that you have a good diaphragm control, and then you can use your breath for all these effects. I'm going to play for you this flute so you can hear what is one of my flute playing like a song. I'm going to play, and I'm going to improvise a song. I usually improvise because I think it's more authentic. Sometimes I play songs that I created, but playing from the heart is improvising. It's that when you just let it go and you are not in your mind, and you just allow the creativity to express through the flute. Okay, so I invite you to close your eyes if you voice because it's better for receiving the flute music. And then I start playing for you. Okay, so this was my Spanish flute. I hope you like it. Yes, and I think I said to you before, this flute is in F. Every Native American flute is in a key, but this is the lowest note you can play on that flute. And also when you uncover the holes, all the holes of the flute, then you play the same note, but it's the next one in the octave, it's the high one. No? Yeah, so for the key, if you are beginner and you never played flute before, I recommend you to go for a key that is not very low, because otherwise it's going to be very long flute and it's going to be more difficult to reach the holes. So maybe you can go for an A, G or F. They are the ones, the best ones for the beginners. I have one here that is very small, short. This is even higher than A, it's a B, and this is quite high pitch. I can play this so then you can hear the sound. Maybe it's not the best one for meditation. Maybe for meditation you would prefer a low flute. But I say that they are difficult to play. If it's very low, like for example a D or C, they are very beautiful and deep sound, but if you are not used to play flute, you are going to find difficult to cover the holes, to reach the holes, because there is going to be a distance between holes, and maybe it's too big for you. And also if you have a small hands, it's even more difficult. So try to go for a high flute when you are beginner. So I'm going to play a little bit of this one that is quite high. I'm going to play in a way that is more rhythmic, like more lively, more like traditional Native American style, or maybe you can play with a drum. This is another flute maker, Guillermo Martinez from he's in California. Yes, I met him in a festival, in a flute festival last year, and he gave me this beautiful flute. I'm going to play it for you now. Okay. I hope you like this one as well. Well, I want to say that Native American flute for me is more than a musical instrument. I always say this in my workshops. It's a healing tool for me. It's an instrument or tool that will help you to transmutate your emotions. Sometimes it's difficult to identify our emotions. They can be very deep inside of us. Maybe we don't feel good, we don't know what is going on. So the Native American flute will help you to bring these emotions to the surface. And you can play with that intention. I always recommend you to play flute with an intention. Every time you start playing, close your eyes, connect with your heart, and set an intention for your playing, what you want to express, what you need to release, what you need to say. Maybe you want to say a prayer through the flute. So many times I found myself that if I need to express an emotion that is stuck inside of me, the flute helped me to bring this emotion up, just bringing it up to the surface. Playing for meditation is great, for calm your mind, to feel grounded, to feel relaxed. So it's a very beautiful instrument for that, for you if you are playing for you, but also for others who are listening to you and they want to meditate. For me, sometimes it's difficult to meditate because my mind there are many thoughts coming. But if I play flute, I am focused in the flute playing, and then my mind is quiet. So this is a very good way of meditating. That is playing flute or playing an instrument. You can do it with another instrument, but for me, Native American flute is the best way of meditation. My mind is always quiet when I play, and I am in the space of the heart instantly. I don't have to make an effort. It's taking me there always. I'm going to play another flute that is very special. This one is a drum flute. It's a double flute. You see there are two flutes in one. So one of the flute is like a normal flute with all the holes, and the other one makes the drum sound. That is a constant sound. It's all the time the same. You can choose to play both or only one of them. So you can play like a single flute or double. This is a very nice flute for meditation, and I like to play it in my sound journeys always. It's one of the favorite ones for people who listen to me. So I'm going to do this flute meditation for you now with the drum flute. So I invite you to close your eyes and sit down in a comfortable position. And you can put an intention for this flute meditation, something you want to get in your life or something you want to transform. Whatever is needed inside of you. Okay? So if you had your eyes closed, and if you were doing the meditation, you can start coming back and breathing in your body, feeling back in this space, in this moment, and feeling the effect of the flute music in your body, in your mind, in your soul. You can open your eyes when you are ready. I hope you enjoy this melody. This is a song I created. I did a version of the song. I didn't do it exactly the same. I always play a bit different every time. But this song is in my flute album, Dreaming into Nature. But I can put the link for you if you are interested in listening to it. And this flute is it has the eagle that is my power animal, or one of my power animals, the most important one for me. And my friend Nick, who is an amazing flute maker here in the UK, and I really recommend you his flutes. He makes the flute for my workshops, and he made flute for many of my students. Yes, and I really like to work with him, so he made this amazing flute for me. I'm very grateful for this flute. Well, I don't know if I can say something else about the flute, because there is a lot to say. I can say many things. It's better to do a workshop or a lesson to learn more. But of course, if you are interested in learning, you can connect with me. I can give you advice about getting a flute. I can put you in contact with flute makers that I know. And yes, and if you are interested, you can also subscribe to my mailing list if you go to my website, because if you do that, you can download a free guide of Native American flute, so you can have your first introduction to the Native American flute and read my guide. And in the guide I explain a few things about the flute, the history, the origins, how to choose the right flute for you, how to take care of the flute. I explain about the scale. And then if you do one of my workshops or flute lessons, you can get a manual. I send always a manual, very detailed manual with everything about the Native American flute. There are exercises to practice the scale. There are a lot of information. There's a lot of information about the benefits of playing flute, about breathing as well, that is essential in flute playing. And I give some breathing exercises that you can practice, and they can help you in your playing. And also the ornaments and effects that you can use for playing beautiful melodies. Yes, and also about the rhythm and ways to play flutes. And yes, and I also send several links when I send the manual, links to YouTube videos that can help you in your practice, and some websites with a lot of information of Native American flute. And you can also be part of my flute circle in Bristol. So this is something good if you want to meet other flute players and play together in community. I'm going to play another of my flutes. This is a flute that someone made for me in white cedar wood, and I decorated myself. I did the decoration, so it's something I enjoyed a lot because I like drawing, so I thought, why not decorating one of my flutes? So I did it with burning into the wood. So yes, I put my intention in the decoration as well. Like you can see here, a Hometa Kuyase, that is for all my relations. This is a Lakota saying, no? That is very important for them. And for me, this is a flute for prayers. It's very special for prayers, for sending prayers wherever they have to go, when my heart needs to express something. Or sometimes you need to be heard, and maybe you need to express something to someone who is not going to listen to you. Maybe the words are not going to be useful, but you can do it through the flute. The flute is magical. You can use it for your prayers. You can use it to communicate to another soul. You know, if there is a person that you need to express something, you can't say it in the physical world. You can't say it with words, but you can use flute music to communicate with the soul of the person. You can communicate with your soul, with your heart, you know, through the flute as well. So I'm going to play another melody with this flute. I hope you enjoy it. You can close your eyes again if you wish. I hope you like this flute. It's in key F. Well, I want to show you another flute where I put my energy, my intention in making it. This time it was more because it was not only the decoration. I make a flute. This is a river cane flute. I make it in Spain. It's the first flute I ever made. And it's another thing that is very beautiful, making your own flutes, because it is nice to play a flute with an intention. It's amazing, you know. You can also make your own flute with an intention. And when I made this flute, I was having a difficult time, so I said I'm going to make this flute for my healing, for healing my heart. And also my intention is that every person who listens to this flute, and if they need healing for their heart, they also get this healing. So I make it with that intention. And the thing is that when I finished making the flute, I could feel the energy. It was so powerful. It's really healing. It's very ancestral and very much from the heart and for the heart. And I called this flute Vuelo del Alma, it's in Spanish, it's Flight of the Soul. Yes, because for me it's like a way to free myself, from all the problems, all the burdens, all the things that make me feel sad or angry. So I feel free when I play this flute. I feel like I feel like I am flying. My soul is flying. This is the flight of the soul, and I get the healing I need from my heart. So I'm going to play a melody for you with this flute, and I hope you feel the healing from her. It's a very special flute. So you can close your eyes. You can place your hands in your heart if you wish, to connect to heart while you are listening. hope you enjoyed, and I hope you felt the music in your heart. What I was playing, I put that intention for you if you need healing for your heart. Well, we are getting to the end of my session, unfortunately. I was enjoying it. And thank you so much for listening to me, for connecting with me today in this festival, and thank you to the organizers of the festival, to Sally and Lynn. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to express my gifts to others and to connect with others. And I hope that some of you will connect with me somehow, maybe for a flute lesson, a sound journey, a retreat. We are going to do a retreat soon, by the way. If you are interested, you can check my Facebook page. I will put all the details of websites and the album, the Facebook pages, Instagram, everything, and also a YouTube channel. I have many videos in the YouTube channel, and during the lockdown, because I couldn't do my events as usual, I was creating new videos, and some of them in nature, playing in nature, in the park near where I live, and I hope you like them. So I'm going to say goodbye with the last flute melody. It's going to be short because there is not much time left, and this is a bamboo flute. It's a different style, well, similar to the one I played before, the same style, but different than the others that I was playing. And this is a very nice flute. The name of the flute is Celebration of Lights. I really like this flute, very special. So I say goodbye with this flute today. Thank you again. Blessings to you all, and yes, and I hope you find the music in your heart, and maybe one day you have your own flute and play. Okay. Bye.